Yes, so the HR Shared Services, we're called the PEEPS team, People Operations, and we go by the name PEEPS. It's an easy name for people to remember. And when we started the PEEPS team back in 2011, really the goal was not to come up with a name that was too corporate-y, wanted something catchy, something that was easy for people to remember. Telling people to email HR is kind of what every other company says. So we decided let's be a little bit different. And we have centers across the globe. We have a team in Menlo Park, that's where we're based, Menlo Park, California. And we also have a team in Dublin and a team in Singapore. Yeah, so one of the challenges has definitely been our growth. I mean, growing as a company for the last 4 years and really improving while growing. So, you know, as we've increased the number of employees, there's basic services that you have to deliver from a shared services standpoint: onboarding, our learning operations, really everything that an employee experiences from the point they come to the company to the point they leave the company. So really dealing with that volume of growth while putting in technology, while improving processes, was probably the biggest challenge to build scale. And along the way, we've invested in new technology. We've moved to outsourced models with some vendors, but all of that we've had to do while still delivering on the core services. The first and foremost was really, I would say, that anything that was a critical process towards compliance and ensuring that we had strong processes in place around data integrity. So we started a lot of the processes on the onboarding side and employee inputs, employee data management, and really focused on anything that was related to data as kind of a first step to the process. So moved our employee files from paper files to electronic files, moved from paper offer letters to e-signature offer letters, moved all of our onboarding documents to an onboarding portal, and moved that to an online electronic form capture. So everything was really around getting data in an electronic format, seamless format, so that we can get it into our systems, audit it, and ensure it was accurate. And a lot of that tied back to different controls that we've put in place around SOX and ensuring that we're having strong controls in place, but also a lot of that tied to just the needs for the company around that HR data, and those needs being critical to report on from an analytics standpoint. So data quality, I think, was probably the number one priority for us. Yes, that is correct. So our Dublin team, they manage really all of the controls around EMEA and all of the various laws in the EMEA region. Same with our Singapore team, they do the same for APAC, and then our US team manages the processes from a US standpoint. So the focus has really been on a couple things. One, the technology piece. I mentioned that before. That is probably the most critical piece to scale. And in terms of what we've put in place is we put in technology that has allowed us to be flexible in administering business rules, configuring business rules, that has allowed us to really grow the applications that we've been using as we've been growing as a company. So that has been a critical piece of it. The second piece of it is really looking at our resourcing model. So really not relying as much on contract or temp staff, really looking at vendor partners to help deliver services, looking at business process outsourcing, and looking at managed services for a number of the processes that we've managed. The combination of those two areas, as well as the third being an investment in our full-time employees and an investment in their career paths, and really positioning the team in a different position than when they first started. We were very transactional, doing very, I would say, low-level work when we first started the team, because a lot of that was about learning the processes and building the technology. Now the folks on the team are in a position where they're actually managing vendors, they're managing services, they're focused on project management, process improvement, metrics and data analysis, and employee relations. So their roles have evolved through this journey as well. So a couple things. One is project management, really drive focus around people getting project management training. We have a couple PMPs on the team, and then also Six Sigma from a process improvement standpoint. So we've had people go through Six Sigma training. And, you know, Facebook's not a company that is very big on process, and in terms of process rigor being, you know, something that we like to say we have. And we do. We have policies, we have procedures, and we do the right things, but we ensure that we have flexibility in the processes. So when we look at things like Six Sigma and we look at rigor around project management, we look at this with the focus in mind of ensuring that whatever we've rolled out is flexible, and whatever we do scales with what the business need is. So if there's not an appetite for Six Sigma project around process improvement, we're not going to push that. But if there's appetite to really drive some of those core foundational methodologies, we'll focus on doing that. But it's really about gaining those skill sets and building up that set of skills within the team. I would say the main areas are continuing to improve on an experience that we've started to really build on, and an employee experience that is one where people are delighted by their experience. And some of that it requires an investment in resources, but a lot of that also is about how you're delivering the experience. So I'd say one of the key areas we're focusing on is personalization at scale. How do we provide an experience where people can get information much easier in terms of if they need to do a transaction or if they want to get information, they can easily access that information from their computer or their phone, or they can send an email and somebody will respond to it relatively quickly and get them what they need. So I think that's a key component to the overall experience. The other is really building an experience where people want to share their experience and say how great their experience is being an employee at the company. So often, we've been seeing, as we've been investing in this experience piece, we've been seeing people post in groups internally about their experience with Peeps. And that says to us then we're making a difference in providing an experience that delights, looking at the employee as the customer, looking at our partners as the customer.
Vijay, thanks.